Please welcome Jen Batchelor, Chief Executive Officer and Founder, Kin Euphorics, Jake Bullock, Chief Executive Officer and Co-Founder, Can, and Shizu Okusa, Chief Executive Officer and Founder, Apothékary, with Booth Moore, Executive Editor, West Coast, WWD.
All right, hello. We're going to roll into a mocktail hour after this, so just have, this one great session to go. So can you guys start out and just briefly introduce your brands and also tell me your mocktail hour drink of choice from your brand?
Oh, should I go?
Yeah.
Since I'm holding mine?
Yes.
Hi guys, I am Kin. I'm Kin, that's right. I'm Jen of Kin. Literally, I have become my business. I've morphed into
Mind meld.
this entity. But I am Jen Batchelor, the co-founder and CEO of Kin Euphorics. And Kin is a labor of love. I know probably every founder here has said that today, and it really has taken all of me and my entire karmic lifetime to pour myself into this innovation. We are the first of our kind. In 2016, I started studying Ayurvedic medicine and decided that all of the cool tips, trips, all of the incredible things that I was learning from Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine could help support how I want to feel on a day-to-day basis, mainly less stressed. That's what I was turning to alcohol to, and that wasn't computing. It wasn't working for me in this newfangled era of mine and trying to live my best life, right? And I think a lot of us are striving for that. Alcohol got in the way so often of that pursuit and my feel-good sensibility and my energy, and I just wanted to return that to myself. And so that's what Euphorics is all about. It's about returning well-being to the self. It's about doing a little something good, sexy, fun, delicious for yourself at the end of a long day. And so that's me, and that's what Kin is. My favorite mocktail, we don't really call our drinks mocktails, but that's a whole nother panel for another day.
It's an alcohol alternative, right?
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Got the link.
Functional at that. This is our actual sunshine product, so it's got, it's near and dear hopefully to y'all's hearts. It's got a clinical dose of collagen in it, bovine collagen. It has vitamin D3, vitamin C, zinc, so it's a big immunity booster. And it tastes delicious. It's pineapple, cardamom, turmeric, ginger, all the delicious things that you want in perhaps a mimosa or a spicy, tropical mezcal margarita, for example. But it also helps to boost your feel-good energy. So that's us in a nutshell.
I'm Jake Bullock from Can. We make a range of microdose infused beverages, so they're infused with THC and CBD, and they're really positioned as an alcohol alternative. So think, better for you drinks. We take out the problematic ingredient, the alcohol, and we swap in much less problematic ingredients like THC. But they still deliver on the buzz. So you get a buzz from our products, but you don't get any of the negative effects of alcohol the next day, the hangovers, the regrets, all that bad stuff that everyone knows and loves. And so similarly, we don't really think about our mocktails or combinations of our drinks because we really believe that they stand alone as a drink themselves. And it's because we take a lot of care in how we make them. That, we source our juices from the best places around the world. Our lemon lavender, for example, has lemon Sicilian lemon juice because just the best lemon juice in the world. We don't use any artificial sweeteners or fake sugar substitutes, preservatives, things like that, and it really does make the product taste great. It's spring, so we have our spring seasonal flavor, which is ginger lemongrass. That's probably the one I would go with. Okay. And it's made with real ginger juice, which is important when you're making ginger drinks because it gives a kick. But they're all really great alcohol alternatives and a part of this pretty exciting sober curiosity movement.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. I'm Shizu Okusa. It's nice to see everybody, and I hate to be at the last hour where everyone's we're budging for a happy hour. So I am an avid consumer of both of your guys' products, and so my mocktail or alcohol alternative is always combining with others. I was a former Wall Streeter, so I started my career working at Goldman, and that was about 15 years ago, and I've been an entrepreneur ever since I was 22 years old. My first company was beverage. I'm glad I'm not in beverage anymore, but with Apothékary today, we call ourselves Mother Nature's Pharmacy. And what we really do today is bridge Eastern medicine with Western healthcare. The aha moment for me was really kind of at this moment where after I was starting this juice company, physical nutrition at some point wasn't sort of my main focus. My main focus started to become all these things that we don't see, like sleep, stress, hormonal health, and all the things that we just take pills and pills and pills. And we've talked a little bit about this, I think, in the last panel. But our idea with Apothékary is really to bridge plant-based remedies that have existed for thousands of years. I'm Japanese, and so we really lean into the cultural and traditions and stories and rituals that have been passed down through thousands of generations through my time. So that's really what we are today. Not only are we trying to serve with product, but really are trying to build a platform for clean, plant-based medicine that has no sugars, additives, or any of the other things that we can't even pronounce. So that's
What's
us.
your drink of choice?
Oh man, I would take our wine down tincture. It's the red wine alternative tincture, so you can take 2 or 3 drops directly on your tongue, or doses well with others. So we love that.
Excellent. Now, probably most of us have read about the rise of alcohol alternatives and the younger generation and how afraid the alcohol industry is, and wine country, and everyone's panicked. So I want to actually jump over that, since hopefully people know, and ask about the opportunity to merge these worlds with wellness, since we're here in the beauty forum. How are you seeing your brands merging into this world, and what are the opportunities?
Yeah. I mean, I can take this one also, since Kin was really born of this effort, right? We were looking at everything that existed pre-Kin, and it was very much this analog, right? This sort of adjacent to the real thing. So alcohol-free whiskeys, alcohol-free wines, a lot of de-alkalized others. And I think what we were seeing as consumers, right? I was initially solving this problem for myself, was that just didn't cut the mustard. I was always thinking, I was feeling like I'm having something lesser than the real thing. I'd rather be having the real thing, right? And so if I'm not going to have that, what is going to fill my cup and make me feel like this? $16, even then, mocktails were $16 and up, in New York at least. This $16 drink, is it going to actually benefit me? Is it actually going to deliver something behind this investment? And so right out the gate for us, functionality took center stage behind even flavor. We really wanted to deliver something that packed a punch, helped us feel something in the moment. And that's where we started investing a lot in innovation that, frankly, the beauty world helped us crack into, right? So the use of liposomes, which really I was first introduced to by my face cream. How is this being applied in the drink world? And in fact, what we learned early on was that it wasn't. It was starting to be used in cannabis much more often to help that molecule cross the blood-brain barrier, but it had really never been utilized in beverage, where you can take a lipid so tiny that you don't even perceive it, right? You think of a lipid, it's a fat, right? And so you're going to feel it. It's maybe going to be creamy, thick, serumy. But we were actually working with biotechnologists and engineers that were making it so small that it was imperceivable. It just drank like liquid. And so we got really excited behind that idea. Can we leverage these ingredients people are starting to find out about? Adaptogens were still young when we launched 2016, 17, but they were just starting to become known. Nootropics, same deal. Thank you, Emma, for explaining that whole journey that we walked through, where women weren't being marketed, nootropics. And so for us, leveraging both the worlds of brain health and brain care, as we later came to term it, and self-care, was where I wanted to find my favorite mocktail, so to speak, at the 5 o'clock hour. I wanted to know I was doing something for myself. The ritual wasn't solo, it was social. It was the first time we were taking this idea of self-care and bringing it to the bar, and I really wanted to double down on that bet.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd also add, it's interesting and not lost on me that we're at a beauty conference, and you think about beauty and all of these products, which are amazing in different ways, and a lot of them are targeting underlying conditions that we have because of alcohol, whether it's some sort of allergy, some sort of skin reaction, our hydration level, how well we slept, and especially these long exposure impacts, right? You drink alcohol and then you go to sleep, and you have horrible sleep over a long period of time, really long periods of dehydration. I flew here from New York. People are drinking on the plane next to me. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Planes are so dehydrating, and then you're making this even worse. And so what does a world of beauty look like where we treat ourselves kindly, and the things that we put in our body aren't making us sleep worse or dehydrated. And so we think a lot at Can about being really inclusive in our approach. So our best customers are drinkers. They're actually heavy drinkers. They over-index 2, 3, 5 times the average. They find products like ours, and we bring them back to average. They're still an average alcohol drinker. They're probably like the average of this room, but we brought them back from a very scary abyss. And that's an important part of how we think about wellness, right? It's different for every person. For me, it may be cutting my alcohol in half. For some people, maybe not drinking any alcohol at all. For others, it's like, can I just shave off a drink every day? That will just be a better sort of option for me from a health standpoint, and in that way, it's wellness.
Yeah, I've been in the space for 13 years from wellness, and because my first business was a cold pressed juice business, and it was like greens and nutrition, I think we started to see an early trend of people doing mocktails with charcoal, if you guys remember that ingredient. That was super trendy at one point. But for Apothékary, we really try to be accessible, and so when we think about accessibility, one of our best performing marketing initiatives has been sober-ish. So when we launched in Dry January, which of course is like a big moment for probably all of us, sober-ish was really the thing that resonated the most, because I think we're still at the very early innings and adopting stage of becoming sober. Yeah. And so I think that sober curiosity, sober-ish, and leaning into that has really allowed us to handhold our customers through the pharmacy. So we use kind of wine alternatives, but we also have, hormonal health, melatonin alternatives, stress alternatives. We're trying to get to that root cause of why people are even stressed to grab that alcohol. And so that's really kind of where we try to aim in, is not just treat the symptom, but get to that root cause.
And not only are you facing increased competition in your space, there's like a new non-alc bar that just opened near my house, but you're also facing stiff competition from soft drinks companies, from alcohol companies. How do you navigate that, and do you ever think about actually partnering up with them?
Yes, our answer would be yes. We like to, I think that there's a lot of beer companies, for example, that want to do sort of like a non-alc beer, but they may want to actually trial that and do a partnership and co-brand that first, see if it sticks, or maybe do it by a certain geographic location first, and then launch that. So confidentially, we are in conversations with a number of those kinds of players, because again, with Apothékary, our products are things that you dose with other things or you take directly, so it's not just like a standalone product. So short answer is, I think they play well with others, and I think there's an enormous amount of opportunity and TAM that will continue to grow over the next 5 years.
Jake, you have a slightly different opinion, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to play well with them. They don't really want to play well with us. It's amazing how, which is maybe tells you more about us than them. But we really position the business against alcohol. Alcohol is the enemy. It is the worst thing that you do to your body. Like I don't blame them for not wanting to jump in bed with us, because we call them out every day in our marketing. But I think that's an important part of how you sell these products, is you need an enemy. And alcohol is also a really good enemy. Not just because of the poison that they sell, but also because of how ingrained they are in our culture, right? So we're often talking about partnerships with talent, really interesting folks that we would love to bring in, love our product, that want to work with us, and they check their contract with, insert what alcohol brand, and they're barred from it. They're barred from saying anything disparaging about alcohol. It's amazing how alcohol finds every little corner of the world and jumps in it and throws their big dollars around and locks down the market. And as a result, you don't have an open conversation about it. And what's interesting is we don't even really dislike alcohol. We would love to do partnerships with them because, like I said, our best customers are really big drinkers. But I think alcohol has this existential crisis. They're terrified of giving even an inch up because they know what that could mean. Like, what happens if we all start behaving like Gen Zers who are drinking a lot less alcohol? They're not drinking any beer. I don't know what happened. Like, maybe the pandemic, no one was binge drinking in college. Like, that didn't happen. Now, it's not because they're entirely sober, which is interesting, right? They have, in some ways, this is the first generation which has an expanded safe access to things like cannabinoids, other functional ingredients. Weird things are going on with Adderall and psilocybin that we know as well. And so it's not entirely a sober generation, but it's an interesting one, and it's one that I think alcohol should be afraid of.
Agreed. Not to offend the boomers in the room, but I have overheard in LA, since this is an LA panel, you understand what I'm talking about here. I overheard one that said, I don't F with alcohol, it's boomer tech. And so I think they're thinking about what does that mean? A lot more boomers in the room than I thought. I apologize. Did not know. No, but seriously, I think Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and we were talking about them earlier, while they don't have brand loyalty necessarily they have it underway, they're researching all these brands, they do have lifestyle loyalty and impact loyalty, and they're very, very principled. And so I think Big Alc is desperately trying to figure out what is going to win over the sober generation, which is what Gen Z certainly has been dubbed. And so they're looking to brands like us to find out what is making them tick and why do we work and they don't. And so I think going for Gen Z influencers, people that are really captivating in their narratives around social impact and how they want to live their life, how they want to feel, mental health, social anxiety, you name it, is how we've approached getting around exactly what Jake was talking about, and that like Anheuser-Busch seems to have everyone on lock except Gen Z. They're too good for that. They're so principled that they're not taking these contracts just on principle. And so it's really fun to be able to uplift some of these voices and to be able to partner with some of these folks that are saying, you know what, I'm going to be checked on this in 20 years. Like they're actually fearful of what that might say about them. And Big Alc has nothing on us on that.
Wow, so celebrities and influencers that are Gen Z are not doing alcohol contracts because, they don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, obviously there's challenges, but tell me sort of how are you navigating them to retail and market your products the best that you can against these forces?
Yeah, I mean, we launched the category for a number of these retailers that have essentially put NA on the map, and we're really proud to have done that. We did it, again, LA, Holler, but we did that for Erewhon and with Erewhon, right? It was very much a partnership. We're still, to this day, 6 years in, training these buyers on how to navigate the space, how to merchandise the space. We're coming up on a second round with Target. We just launched with them nationally, initially with 1,200 stores. Now we're doing 900 in key markets, which is crazy coming off of a pilot, 900 stores nationwide, including places like, Idaho that I never even knew we had customers in. But they're picking up the brand because they very much believe in this and they're fully bought into this idea of sipping your self-care. So I think we got to a place 5 years in where you couldn't deny the growth, the meteoric growth and rise of the NA movement. You couldn't deny that this is something that people wanted to be associated with. We also have, for those interested in the space, a little inside knowledge. Target's not allowed by their own internal policies to market Bev Alc. They cannot market on their own channels wine or beer or anything that they sell. And so they're seeing us as a way to target, to Jake's point, 90% of our drinkers still drink alcohol. So can they target someone, #moderation, and bring that customer in and have them increase their basket size just by seeking kin out and discovering other premium brands that are beauty and wellness driven. And so we're helping them accomplish that by helping them cross the aisle that way.
Cool.
It's been a ride.
We are about to enter retail. We launched in 2020, and as a primary herbal medicine brand, we're probably the most sort of wellnessy wellness, and we kind of intersect healthcare and wellness as well. And so the education that's required for some of our products, like what is rhodiola, what is maca, what is astragalus, how do I even pronounce astragalus? And so the retail conversations have been kind of pushed out in that sense of how do we get customers to ensure that they know what they're taking, when to take it. As one of the sort of leading names in herbal medicine, we want to make sure that we're taking the customer where they are in their journey. So the retailers that we're launching with this year, the category is called emotional wellness. We're actually not like a non-alc brand per se, and we don't actually strive to be a non-alc brand primarily. We really want people to know us as, Mother Nature's pharmacy. How do we bridge you to natural remedies and many of the remedies that we offer? So emotional wellness is kind of where we kind of really do focus, and 90% of our customers are focused on stress, and alcohol is just one of those means that they take our products. But yeah, that's us.
Yeah, we're starting to see a real pull-through in retail. I think our business in the beginning was just dispensaries, and then we've been able to expand in a number of states. You can buy Canon Total Wine here in California, which is pretty amazing, alongside alcohol, and that's really important because we're trying to get people to drink less booze. That decision needs to happen where they're making the decision to purchase booze, not where they're making the decision to purchase a pre-roll joint. And so that's been a huge unlock for the business, and it's also helping us reach these customers who we know are out there who have been pulling painstakingly our products and others through the channel despite everything being stacked against us. And it's really powerful to see that vision of the future we believe should exist, where you can have beer, wine, can, other non-alc products, at any social occasion. It's coming true very, very slowly, but it's starting to happen.
And before I let you go, what do you see sort of in the next 5 years? We mentioned Erewhon, which is obviously a big star here in California. That is kind of really marrying the wellness space and food and beverage. I mean, do you see more stores doing that? Do you see these categories blurring even more?
I 1,000% do. Yeah. I actually think, so when I say emotional wellness, it's because there's no category for Apothékary really today. We're creating a category that is intersecting that preventative health space. And, CVS and Walgreens and, that's kind of where we're trying to attack. Like, that's probably our big alcohol. But, we're not going to have our products in there. And so we're actually thinking of our own brick and mortar strategy in it itself. But that's for us, so.
Yeah, I agree. I think these things become intermingled. I think, if you ask people to just sort of take a second and think about, what way could I be more healthy? I bet you most people at the top of that list has alcohol or something to do with alcohol, including things like sleep, right? In diet, we don't talk enough about how alcohol influences our food choices. And so I really do think wellness becomes broader, and it has, non-alc has to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah, we talked about, is alcohol a friend or an enemy? And I know very well to keep my frenemies close, and I think they're absolutely a frenemy. We have so much to learn from them. Look at how Kin launched. If anyone's familiar with this brand, we wanted it to be sexy. Why? To rival the top shelf liquor brands out there that have spent hundreds of millions of dollars convincing you that drinking Casamigos is sexier than drinking seltzer water, right? And so they want your dollars. They want your premium, you to feel sexier, more lovable, whatever it is, more confident. And so I think for me, it has always been, I've been shouting this from the rooftops despite getting laughed out of numerous boardrooms, function is the future in NA, because function is what has led and driven a 10,000-year-old social ritual around drinking alcohol. You drink alcohol to get drunk, to get tipsy, to relax, to take the edge off. Pick where you're sitting on the spectrum. It has to do with pleasure. It has to do with joy. It has to do with relaxation. And in the worst case, it has to do with numbing the things that you're dealing with. The things that you switch out your nightly glass of wine for have to deliver against that. We're smarter than we were 100 years ago, 10,000 years ago, guys. We have access to bioengineering. We have access to ingredients that are literally lowering cortisol, literally improving your brain, neuroplasticity, your creativity, your sex drive, your energy, your focus, your presence, right? So if we are not sitting next to the thing that's, to me, offering you a lesser than opportunity, right? You're not getting better behind 5 glasses of, whiskey. You're just not. Your liver's suffering, your brain's suffering, your libido's suffering, and on it goes. If something can sit next to the shelf and rival that, that's when we know we've made it. So that's what euphoria is to me, and where I think retailers should keep considering why function, why the physiological benefit of the products that we're offering are delivering against that value proposition, not just a fake whiskey.
Thank you guys so much. This was terrific. Thanks.
Yeah.